Welcome to Auntie Life Unfiltered, the podcast where we say the things everyone else whispers, feels, or pretends they're totally fine about. Around here, nothing is too awkward, too messy, or too, oh my god, did she really just say that? Yes, I did. This is your space where real talk, real stories, real emotions, and the kind of honesty that makes you laugh, cry, and heal a little. Sometimes all at once. So grab your drink, get comfy, and let's dive in. Because life's too short to sugarcoat it, and I'm not here to do that anyway. Welcome to Auntie Life Unfiltered. Let's get into it. Welcome back to Auntie Life Unfiltered. Today I'm joined by Breanna, who is courageously sharing her story of growing up in generational addiction, surviving childhood trauma, and reaching a life-changing rock bottom after finding her mom following an overdose. This conversation is raw, honest, and rooted in healing. We'll talk about trauma, addiction, recovery, and what it means to reclaim your life after surviving what once felt impossible. This episode includes discussion of addiction, overdose, and recovery. Please listen with care. Welcome, Breanna. Thank you for joining me today.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. Before we get into some of the heavier stuff, do you just want to share about who you are today, what you like to do for fun, or any fun facts?
So right now I'm a house manager. Um, all of my family is sober now after
Awesome.
years and years of addiction. And just being able to do stuff like that, that's a amazing thing for me to be able to accomplish in my life because I never thought I would be where I am today, and now I am.
That's amazing. That is awesome. That takes a lot of strength, and we'll get into a little bit more of how you got there and what shaped you. But yes, that's amazing.
Thank you.
What was your childhood like growing up around addiction?
Well, my dad was an alcoholic. My mom was an alcoholic and addict. Um, I started drinking at a really young age, probably like 12 years old. I used to be that little girl that would go to parties with my 16-year-old brother and, think nothing of it. And
Mm-hmm.
then when I was 15, I turned to weed. Um, that became a problem right away because if I didn't have it, I was a terrible person. I was mean and
Right.
anxious and just centered my whole life around it.
Mm,
Then when I
yeah.
was 18, that's when everything else came. And
Yeah.
definitely lost everything right away.
Yeah. Sounds like it's been rough from the beginning. When you look back, what do you think you needed most as a child that you didn't receive?
Probably just a sober family. Um,
Yeah.
my dad was a hard worker. My dad was working all the time, but if he wasn't working, he was drunk. And
Mhm.
my mom, she was always drinking, but she didn't start her addiction to pain pills until my grandma died. Her mom was living with us and she passed away. And when my mom was packing her stuff up, she found pain pills, and that's when that
Mm.
started.
Oh
Yeah.
gosh, yeah. That'd be a very open and vulnerable time, for her to find something
Yeah.
like that and say, "Oh, here's an answer." So, oh, I'm
Yeah.
sorry to hear that. Were there any moments or people growing up that made you feel safe, even briefly?
When I was younger, like, I always felt safe around my parents,
Yeah.
but I just knew that they had, like, their issues to deal with. But
Right.
my grandparents, on my mom's side, I felt safe around them, and then there was stuff that came out when I was 18 that made me question everything. Like, "Oh, did they
Mm.
really love me? Did they really care?
Yeah.
Or was it just like a hoax to see?"
Yeah. Oh, goodness gracious. Yeah, that is hard. You have, like you said, I experienced that as well. I have family members, immediate family members that are alcoholics too, and they still worked, provided and stuff like that. But then, that alcohol turns them into a different person and makes
Yeah.
them hard to be around. And it's not that we hate our parents or that person, it's just we hate who they are when they are in that state. So I completely understand
Right.
that. You kind of already answered this. You said you started drinking when you were 12 and then led to weed. Um, what were some of the harder drugs? Did you go into pills as well?
I would, just do pills once in a while, but I started seeing this guy when I was 18. He was one of my brother's friends, and
Mm.
a little while into our relationship, I found out that he was struggling with meth abuse, and
Mm,
I was trying to help him get sober off of it. Well, then he asked me one day if I wanted to do meth for a weekend. So I did. Um,
mhm,
I was coming down and he cheated on me, so I punched my mirror. After I punched my mirror, I kept getting pain pills from the doctor. And then I ran out of the pain pills. So I was crying to him about being in pain. I don't know if it was so
mhm,
much pain at that time or just like withdrawing from the pain pills. I think it
right,
was probably withdrawing from pain pills at this time. So I
mhm.
was telling him about it and he was like, "Well, I got heroin. Let's if you want to do it." And that's how that started.
Yeah, and one thing leads to another, and like you said, a lot of it is like saying, trying for the pain, but it's really you just want that high or not from the withdrawals, leads you on to the next thing, or the one thing doesn't become accessible anymore. So that leads you
Yeah.
to, even worse things. That exactly, I
Yeah.
know a lot of people personally, my husband and I have both lost a lot of friends to addiction.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's how it goes a lot of times.
Yeah.
What do you think people understood more about addiction and relapse?
I don't think a lot of people that have never used substances really understand addiction as much. I think
Mhm.
what they think that people just wanna get high, which, yeah, that is the case sometimes, but sometimes people wanna numb the pain. Sometimes there's so much trauma and history that they just wanna numb it all out. It's not always just to get high, it's to not feel.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and a lot of these episodes that I'm doing, and even with Karen, we spoke on that, everybody has a story, everybody has something that led them
Yeah,
to the situation that they're in, whether it's drugs, alcohol, being incarcerated,
yeah,
anything like that. So I always try to keep an open mind and actually listen to people and see what they've actually been through. Like 9 times out of 10, they just didn't decide one day, oh, I just want to do this because, so there are those
yeah,
cases, but it is rare.
yeah.
If you're comfortable sharing, can you talk about the day you found your mom after her overdose?
Yeah, so I had been sober for, like, 5.5 months. I was in a treatment in Milwaukee, like, 4 hours away from home. I came home and I started seeing this guy, and there's some stuff that happened with that, so I ended up going to relapse. I told my mom, I think it was, like, the next day or something, that I was gonna go get a bag, and
Mhm,
by that time, my mom had already started using my drug of choice, and she was like, "Well, I already got some." So we were getting high for a day or 2. I was on drug court at the time, so I was doing mandatory drug testing. It was, like,
mhm,
6 o'clock at night. I had to go take a drug test. Well, I had hid my stuff in my room because I know how my mom was.
mhm,
Well, I went to do my drug test, I got home, and normally every time I get home, my mom's, like, says something to me right away. So I looked at my dad and I was like, "Where's mom? Like, where is she?" And he was like, "I don't know." Well, I found her in the bathroom naked on the bathroom floor. I Narcaned her, I did CPR, I know my brother used to slap the hell out of me when I would overdose. So I tried slapping
mhm,
her, pouring cold water on her, nothing would get her to wake up. So finally I was like, I told my other brother to call 911. She was in ICU, um, having seizures. She was in a coma, and I still chose that drug. I quickly grabbed the same stuff that my mom overdosed on and put it in my pocket when my brother said to flush it. I flushed a
mhm.
clean piece of tinfoil rather than the same drug that just almost killed my mom.
Yeah. That's what I was gonna
And
ask if that was your
yeah.
rock bottom, but yeah.
Yeah, it was my rock bottom, but it didn't take me a month and like till a month and a half after it before I was like,
Mhm.
I really gotta get sober. I wanted to get sober, but I couldn't get sober. Or I felt like I couldn't.
Right. Yeah.
It took a little bit.
Yeah. I Thank you for sharing that with me. That would be absolutely horrible. And like you said, you're in a different mindset. You just, relapsed yourself and went back to it.
Mhm.
And it becomes a cycle, and everyone in the family shares, and starts doing the
Yeah.
same thing. And yeah, I understand completely. What shifted inside you after that moment?
I think it was like I've lost other people to overdose, but I think it was how close it hit to home. And I
Yeah,
really did not want my dad or my brothers or my sisters or anybody that truly cares about me to have to bury me. We've already had to bury enough of our family. I don't wanna have to be another person over this drug.
absolutely. Yes. How did you get help, or were you forced to get help? Were you picked up or arrested, or did you choose to get rehab or something?
Um, well, I was on drug court at that time. Drug court had already sent me
Hmm.
to treatment 3 times. I was on drug court for, like, 2.5 years, but this time I actually went to my PO and I was bawling and I was like, "Well, I'm trying to get treatment. I've been calling. I need treatment. I can't keep doing this." Um,
Hmm.
I went to jail for a week and then I got sent to a treatment in Eau Claire.
Nice. Awesome. That's good, and that's very strong of you and very powerful for you to know that you were at that point and that you needed the help and to come to them ahead of time. I'm sure that honesty helped a lot instead of them needing
Yeah,
to chase you down or take you in
yeah,
themselves. So,
yeah.
is
Um,
so your mom's loss, is that what made you finally take recovery seriously, or were there other factors, or just being over the whole scene in general, just wanting a better life for yourself?
I think it was a mix of all of it together. Like, seeing how close it was with my mom, like, she'll never be the same as she was. But
Mhm.
also seeing people that I care about sober and knowing how much I wanted it and knowing what I want in life. I couldn't do any of the stuff that I want in life if I was strung out or in jail or prison or dead.
Mhm. Absolutely. What was the hardest part of choosing change?
I think it was the people that I used to have in my life. They say that they're drug friends, which maybe they are, but I love hard. And when I love somebody,
Mhm.
I love them through everything. So I think it was the people that I had in my life because I can't surround myself with them anymore until they're ready to get sober.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's so important. And I think that's a lot of downfall for a lot of people, especially like I said in my own experiences with my friends, going back to that lifestyle. We live in a very small community, 2,500 people, nothing else to do. So that's what everybody does, and party and hang out. And it's generational here as well. And yeah, I think that's one of the biggest things that people have struggled with is they still love those people and still want to be part of their lives and want them to do better. But putting yourself right back in that situation 9 times out of 10 is not going to be good for you in the long run. So
Right,
it
and
takes a lot of strength and courage. Yeah.
that's something I've done every other time I've been sober is I would be sober and going to hang out with people using like my brother, he was in addiction with
Mhm.
me. We started our addiction together. I would go around him when I was sober and he was using, and it won't be long before we were using together again.
Yeah, absolutely. What does reclaiming your life mean to you now?
Going for everything that I've always wanted that I lost the chance to get before.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Are you doing any advocacy work? Are you working towards any licenses or therapy, being therapist or counselor or peer recovery?
Pure recovery. Yeah.
Peer recovery. Yeah.
Yep.
I've talked to a couple of peer recovery, and I just love that approach. I wasn't very familiar with it before I started doing my podcast, and I think it's very important that people know that there's other options besides going to like a huge professional psychologist or something like that, or making yourself be in rehab or admitting yourself to like a 72-hour lockup or something like that. Like there's so many other options, and I love the fact that you guys have to have that lived experience to be able to
Yeah.
be a peer recovery.
Yeah.
Absolutely. What are you most proud of today?
Probably with how long I've been sober now, I've never been sober this long. And the fact that I finished drug court, I was in it for 2.5 years and I never seen the end of the tunnel until this time that I got sober. The last time I was in treatment, I was telling my PO, "I'm gonna finish drug court by this day," and I did it.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's super powerful. That's
Yeah.
great. What would you say to someone who feels stuck in the same cycle you once were?
That it is possible. There is people out there who care, and there is a life after addiction, and it's a lot more beautiful than the life we've been living.
Yes, that's amazing. That's so true. You kinda I'm gonna go back a little bit. You mentioned your whole family is sober now.
Yep.
Did you play a factor in that, or what happened to your mom, cause everybody else to kind of get out of it, or, you know?
So when my mom overdosed, my brother was actually in treatment at that time.
Okay.
So he stayed sober through that. He's had a little setback before, but he's sober. My mom, she's terrified and she sees her kids sober and that's all she wants for us all. My dad, he stopped drinking when we got into our addiction. He was the one, fighting with us all the time, like, "You need to stop doing this,"
Mhm.
like, and none of us would listen to him. So we kind of put him through a bunch of stuff with all of us in our
Yeah.
addiction.
That's kind of, a silver lining, I guess, in a way that he stopped his addiction because he knew he had to
Yeah.
be there for you guys. Yeah. It takes a lot for that too, and that shows that, he truly cares and that, he wanted your family to be better and everybody to be sober and can be together. So that's amazing. And that's really powerful. When I spoke
Yeah.
to Karen, she said there was a specific moment or specific person that made her realize that help is available, while you're in your prison or, rehab or anything like that, was there a person for you or a moment that made you realize, "Oh, I actually have hope now," or "There's people here that wanna help me?"
I think Karen would be my person. Um,
Yeah.
from the moment I met her, she was somebody that I wanted to be like. Just how hard she worked, how beautiful her life was now. Hearing her stories from what it was then to now, that's what I wanted.
Yeah, that's amazing. I'm so glad that you have that, and her story is absolutely, shows a lot of resilience, strength, and is very powerful. I'm very honored that she came on and that she connected me to you as well. I'm trying to get as many different types of stories out there. Everybody's story is different, not everyone's is the same, whether it is alcohol, pills, heroin, anything else that people have been through. I'm just trying to give everyone a platform to be able to share and let people know that they're not alone and that there are a lot of different options and avenues that you can go to.
I think that's beautiful too. It shows people that there is hope.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for that. Do you have anything else you want to talk about in detail or anything you'd like to share, any encouraging words for others?
Um, I think just like knowing where I was versus where I'm at now, it's a real eye opener for me. And I always want to
Yeah,
be that person to help people if they want help.
right.
So find your people, find people that love you, find people that want the same things out of life that you do and are creating a better life for themselves, and you will get that life that you want.
Absolutely. Yes. I spoke to someone earlier. He was kind of like a nomad. He went into the military and then he chose to live off the land, travel the country and stuff like that. And that is one of the biggest takeaways is like find out who you are, give into who your true real self is, and the right people will come into your life. Don't chase that wanting to be seen or wanting to be loved or chasing after love, all the right things will come to you in due time when you actually love yourself enough and can put yourself first. So that is so important.
Yes.
Let's do some fun rapid fire questions just to kind of lighten the mood a little bit, just for fun.
Okay.
Coffee or energy drink?
Oh, damn. Red Bull.
Red Bull. Red Bull,
Yeah.
yeah. Do you, yeah. Yeah. I always I'm not a huge energy drink person, but I used to work really long shifts and you need something at that point.
Oh,
I
yeah.
always like the Monster Irish cream coffee. So that's really the only ever energy drink I drink. So
What a mix of both then.
yeah. Yeah. Yes, for sure. Sweet snacks or salty snacks?
Sweet.
Sweet. Do you have a
Yeah.
specific sweet snack that's your favorite?
Uh, Wild berry Skittles.
Oh, nice. Nice. That's a good one. And that's off random too. Yeah, I like that. Texting or phone calls?
Texting.
Texting. Early
Yep.
mornings or late nights?
Late nights.
Late nights.
Yeah.
Favorite comfort TV show?
The Vampire Diaries.
Oh, nice. That's a good one. I still need to finish that, but I've tried to get through it a couple times and get lost. So
I've watched it like 10 times. Oops.
nice. That's a good one. Yeah, I love that. Music you play when you need a mood reset.
Boy. Country music.
Country music. Do you like newers or like 90s country?
Probably newer.
Newer, yeah. One small thing that brings you joy right now.
Seeing other people happy.
That's awesome. That's a good one. One word that describes this chapter of your life.
Beautiful.
I love that. That's an amazing response. That is so powerful that you're able to say that. That's amazing. Your story is very inspiring and very touching. And I'm very proud of you. I know I don't even know you, but I'm proud of you for where you're at. And I appreciate you so much for sharing your journey and story with us. If you could take anything away from what you've learned, is there any kind of self-care tips that helped you get through it or anything that you would suggest others use while they're trying
Right.
to get through, the withdrawals or different things like that?
Call somebody who's sober that cares. Um, there's so many people that understand that have been through stuff that you have went through. Call them.
Mhm.
You don't gotta call the plug. You can call somebody who wants better for you.
Yeah, that's true. That's so important. There's always
Mhm.
someone out there that's willing to help or that cares. So
Right.
just try to think of those people and know you're not alone. So that's so important.
Yeah.
Well, I know this is kind of quick, but we went over some very important things. Is there anything else that you would like to share or any resources that you'd like to link to yourself or share with the community?
I don't think so.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for trusting me and the space with your story. Your honesty, vulnerability, and strength matter more than you know. And I know this conversation is going to help someone feel less alone. If you're listening and this episode resonated with you, please know that healing is possible and help is out there. Thank you for being here and thank you for listening to Auntie Mel Mel Life Unfiltered. Before I close out this episode, I want to sit with something that happened at the end of our conversation. I asked Breanna to use one word to describe her life right now, and she said, beautiful. I'm not going to lie, that stopped me for a second. Because when you listen to what she has survived, childhood trauma, addiction, relapse, jail, rock bottom, finding her mom overdosing, beautiful isn't the word most people would expect. But that is exactly why it hit me so hard. Beautiful doesn't mean perfect. It doesn't erase the past. It doesn't pretend the pain didn't happen. It means she can sit in her life today, after everything, and see something worth staying for. That's what breaking the cycle looks like. It's not flashy, it's not loud, it's not overnight transformation. It's being able to look at your life, the same life that once felt chaotic or unbearable, and say, this is beautiful. When she said that, I felt proud of her, and I had just met her. If you're listening and you're not in a beautiful yet, that's okay. Maybe today your word is surviving. Maybe it's trying. Maybe it's healing. But I hope one day you get to say beautiful too. And I hope you believe it when you do. All right, friends, that's a wrap on today's episode of Auntie Mel Mel Life Unfiltered. Thank you for spending this time with me and stepping into the real, the raw, the messy, and the magical. Because we don't do surface level here. If this episode hit home, made you laugh, or helped you feel a little less alone, go ahead and follow the podcast and share it with someone who might need it too. And remember, you are never too much, never too little, and never alone on this wild ride. I'll meet you back here next time for more truth, more feels, and more unfiltered goodness. This is Auntie Mel Mel signing off. Stay real, stay kind, and stay unfiltered. Thanks for hanging out with me today. This is Auntie Mel Mel. If this episode made you laugh, think, or feel a little less alone, please subscribe, like, and leave a comment. Sharing it really helps this community grow. You can also find me on Facebook, Instagram, Spotify, and right here on YouTube. I'll see you in the next episode of Life Unfiltered.